Hey guys, hey. Welcome to the neighborhood. My channel is called Powerfully You, and it's about my 60 something life and just, the retirement, the semi retirement, the good, the bad, the ugly, and all about that. Today, I just really wanted to go a little deeper with you guys and confess some things. But basically, I wanted to talk about my grief because I feel like maybe my sharing about grief will help somebody else. So I do have some notes here, and you may see me look over, but I need those notes to stay on point. Um, my husband passed about 8 months ago, and though I feel like I'm working for me, I think I'm working pretty well through this whole grief process, but it is a process. And I have, you know, cried. I have had good and bad memories. I've dealt with it. Sometimes the grief flows. Sometimes it is a big wave. Sometimes it's shallow, and sometimes it's deep. But one of the things that I realized about my grief is that I had to acknowledge the loss, that I lost my husband. So after I acknowledge that I do have this grief and it's sitting there, but it's like a ball sitting at the base of my heart, but the ball is getting smaller, um, and I'm working through it. But as I took away the layers of that grief, and as I begin to go through it, as I journal through it, as I cry through it, as I walk through this grief, I realize that I'm taking layers off. And those layers go really, really deep sometimes. I also realized that my grief was layered with fear. In this political climate, a true fear for me is that somebody is trying to take my freedom away. And that's a deep seated ancestral fear. And it's also a part of grief for my ancestors, for them. And so I even had to acknowledge both of those things. So, alongside with my grief, I noticed that deep seated fear, especially in today's political climate, when things feels like they're trying to take freedoms away. And my fear is intertwined with that grief. So I had to acknowledge that. And that was hard because I didn't want to say that I was fearful about this. I had to verbalize that I was fear and that my fear was so connected to this grief. Even now, being able to say that to you, I feel like I'm really just letting it all out here. But I need to let it all out. I need to speak it. I need to say it. I need to acknowledge it. And then after I acknowledge the fear, I have to come up with ways how to deal with that fear and that grief. So here are some ways that I'm working through. I have not totally uh, conquered it, but I'm working through, I'm walking through the grief process. One way to combat that fear is by educating myself, understanding that the political climate of today, um, the best thing I can do is be prepared, be know what's going on, stay up to date, fight the fights that resonate with me, pick and choose my battles. I need to talk about these with friends, these fears, this grief, family, community members, in a supportive environment. That's the key. And I encourage you to start the conversations. And I start the conversations with, how are you feeling about a certain situation? And then taking action. Action. channeling that fear into action is vital. Whether it's volunteering, it's advocating for policies that you believe in, it's participating in community initiatives, it's taking steps forward that can transform that fear into empowerment. It's also, for me, I really am into mindful practices. So it's mindfulness practices. Practicing mindful, being aware, sitting in the moment, sometimes sitting in that grief, taking deep breaths, meditating, journaling. All of this helps ground me. Being able to talk to loved ones, as I said, it allows me to sit with my feelings without being overwhelmed. Sometimes you just have to sit there and let the feelings pass over you. Affirmations are another thing that help. Saying things like, my voice matters. I will not be silenced. That empowers me. For me, even rituals help. Sometimes I just light a candle and pray. Pray for the future of my people. Pray about this grief that I have inside of me that's centuries old, that I can, that is taken away from me. Pray about my losses. Pray about my gains. And finally, I just have to be authentic about that. This part of me having this video, because it's really taking away some of those layers and being who I am and being willing to show my vulnerability in this moment. My feelings are valid, and it's okay to feel both grief and fear. And also me remembering, as well as anybody else, that we're not alone in this journey. As I'm ending this segment, I just want to say that I invite you to embrace your voice and share your experiences. Together, we can create a supportive community that uplifts and empowers one another. If this video is calling you to really walk through your grief, to sit in it, to travel with it, to cry about it, but to get through it, that's the purpose. And I'd love to hear how you're doing. Leave a comment, share this video if somebody else is experiencing the same kind of things. I want to thank you for watching today. And just remember, we're stronger together and our voices matter. Sometimes when we get after 60, you kind of feel like your voice doesn't matter. Our voices matter. So share, like, subscribe, tell me how you're feeling, make a video response, leave a comment. It all works. Be blessed, be powerful, and know that your voice, as well as mine, matters. Talk to you soon.